Jer, it's really good to be with you today. And as I read of your bio today, I'm learning. You're the founder and principal and tutor of the Kinesiology College of Ireland, and you've been practicing kinesiology since 1992, which actually gives me a clue that you've been in kinesiology longer than that, because by the time you do your training and then start practicing, there can be quite a gap. Tell me, Jer, what attracted you to kinesiology?
Thanks for having me, Sylvia. It's lovely to be with you. Firstly, it was because I had a son who was dyslexic, and he was 4 years academically behind his chronological age. He was 8 and he was measuring at an age 4. And he was sent to an educational psychiatrist first, who told me that I had a genius, but he'd never be able to learn. And then I was sent to an educational psychologist who said, oh, push him and give him one-to-one thing. And then I met somebody and said, have you heard of kinesiology? And after being the rounds and we weren't getting anywhere, one session with the kinesiologist made an enormous difference. And I was blown away. And I either decided that this was bunkum or it was brilliant, and I couldn't decide which. So I took a touch of health class to prove it couldn't possibly be working. And the rest is history. And he caught up 2 years within 6 months, and he caught up the 4 years within a year. Doing these very strange things that she was doing that I had no clue what she was doing, but it worked.
And that's all that matters. It worked.
Yeah, that was all that matters. And he was happy.
And that's the amazing and beautiful thing about kinesiology, is that sometimes, you know, you press here, you rub there, you trace a line in the body somewhere else, and so many things just change and people get better.
Yeah.
And it changes.
And I suppose to the person who doesn't know about it, it looks really strange at the beginning, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right. But it's interesting, what I've learned about you, Jer, is that you became very involved. You began your school, you began teaching other people and sharing this information, but then you got involved with the International Kinesiology College and the Personal Development School. How did that evolve?
Well, I became the IKC faculty for Ireland in 2002. And I was the new kid on the block and still learning the ropes and not a clue what I was doing, really. I was doing what my mentor was, Tony Lilly, was telling me. And in 2008 in Lake Garda, I was elected as the Touch for Health School Dean and the Personal Development School Dean. And I had no clue what either job was, but I was starting them on the 1st of January 2009. And you learn quickly when you land in the job. And thankfully, Tony was ahead of me, and she was my mentor, and she had been the dean of the Touch Health School for the previous 14 years. So I had to ask her everything I was supposed to do because I had no idea. And she was great, and she guided me for the Touch for Health School. And nobody knew about the PDS school because that hadn't been a role that had been used. Even though there had been a previous dean, it was never, they didn't have a meeting, they hadn't got anything, they didn't have bylaws, they had nothing. And Tony said to me, well, you can kind of do what you like with it and set it up. But at that time, the Touch for Health School was inside the PDS. So there was only 2 schools in the IKC. There was the Personal Development School and the Professional School. And the Touch for Health School lived inside the PDS until 2011 when they separated it to give the Touch for Health School Dean a place on the EB. And up to that, I can remember Sandy Gannon saying to me, you know, as the PD School Dean, would you have a word with the Touch for Health School Dean, who was also me? You know? And so I was my own boss. And so the PD school came around. The first inaugural meeting was in Cork when we had the IKC conference in Cork, you know, of the technology that we're using now. And we had the first inaugural meeting at the conference in Cork in 2009. And we sat down with the first committee or the board, which was Sandy Gannon was there, Wayne Topping, Dominique Minette, Amy Choi, and myself. And we said, well, what do we want to do with this? And it went from there. And it was, decided we pulled out the mission statement and the whole what we wanted for the PDS. And it went from there.
Amazing, amazing. It's interesting, just for anybody who would be listening to this video in the future, let's just fill them in on some letters. So the IKC is the International Kinesiology College. The
Yes.
PDS is the Personal Development School. The TFH school is the Touch for Health school. And the other school is the Professional school.
Oh, yeah. And that one tends to get its name. It's never called the PS generally. It's normally Professional school.
Well, that would be professional, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. It doesn't get shortened so much. But yeah, so we set it up, and it's been getting stronger and stronger.
So tell me, Jo, what is the purpose of the Personal Development School?
So the purpose of the development school was set up to protect works written by authors probably after their death, during their lifetime and after their death, and so that the work would be preserved and protected long after they were gone. And I suppose we've modelled it on the Touch for Health school, which John Thee had entrusted us with Touch for Health. And, John is now dead 15 years and Touch for Health is still very much intact and, very much his work. And they had done a very good job of it. They're looking after it over 30 years now. And we wanted to do the same for other authors and other courses that needed their work protected. It also gave them a status, an international certificate for their students, and a status that the course had been approved. And it was also a place, to have a database that many authors might not have that facility to have all their students in one place all over the world, regardless of who was teaching them, that they could appoint instructors and have them teach forever in the world, and there would still be a database through the certificate system that the author could access and know exactly who all the students were worldwide.
Wow. And I know that you've moved on from the position of the Dean of the Personal Development School, and you've taken a much, much bigger position. Tell us about that.
Oh, well, I was very honoured to be elected president of the IKC, or the International Kinesiology College, last October. It had previously been held by Sandy Gannon, our dear friend, who had passed away, and the position had been left, and I'd been acting president since her death in April. And I was elected to the position, and I suppose I've been on the EB, which is the executive board of the IKC, for the 12 years, being the PDS, or the Personal Development School Dean. So I probably was the longest serving member on that board, so they thought I might know the ropes a little bit. And now I'm still learning, and I'm learning all the time.
As we do. So from your position as president of the IKC, International Kinesiology College, when you look at the Personal Development School, why would you invite other authors to join the Personal Development School?
Well, the benefits are huge. I mean, they're really big, but we had witnessed, I think all kinesiologists at some time who are around for quite some time in this work will have witnessed, where work had been lost or claimed away from a family, or that the work after the person died, kind of almost the work and the died with them, and then it wasn't continued, or it was claimed by other people or whatever. And we wanted to make sure that didn't happen, and that I suppose the biggest thing is that the work is protected, and that they decide who will look after it after their death. And that was a very big thing, and it's a big thing for people who have a body of work that if anything happens to them, and we're all going to expire at some stage, that the work would be intact and protected and looked after, and that they could have the say of who would look after it. And I think that was a big force in setting up the PDS, and what was behind it was that there is so much work. I mean, if we look at the Touch for Health tree, for instance, the Kinesiology Touch for Health tree, there is, from the trunk of Touch for Health, there are so many works of kinesiology out there now, and so many people have developed amazing, wonderful courses, and it would be lovely to know that that was, you know, kept safe and looked after for them. And I think that was one of the big purposes of the personal development school. And it just expanded, so it's now non-kinesiology as well.
I have another question for you. Is it expensive to be a part of the personal development school?
No, it's not. The prices are incredibly reasonable. So if you apply to the personal development course for to have your course assessed by the board, and it's peer reviewed, so a course up to 2 days will cost you €135. If it's up to 8 days, it will cost €185. And then after that, if it's 9 to 16 days, there's a charge of €15 per day. And after 17 days and over, it goes down to $7.50 a day. So you can get a lot of work. I mean, most people would have probably a 2-day course, which would be $135, or a 3 or 4 day course, which is $185. But that's it. There is no charges after it. Once it's approved, there is no annual charges or anything else. You do have a contract, and your agreement is that you would buy your certificates from the IKC. So you pay €1.25 per day for the certificate. And for that price, you get the website, all your database, you can set up your instructors, you can buy your own certificates, and only the author can buy those certificates. Nobody else can buy them. You can, you sell them on to your instructors. Your instructors have to put their students on the website, which means that you get the database of your instructors' students. So if you want to do an email shot to all of these instructors around the world for your course, you have that access, and you have the database to do it. So for what you pay for, an application of either 135 or 185, which is the norm, you get a huge return. And the only charge you would have ongoing after that is €1.25 per day for a certificate. So if it's a 2-day course, it'd be $2.50 per certificate. And most of them then will sell them on to their instructors, and they will add the royalty for the course onto that, so that they can get their money back for the certificates.
This is good. And for people who may be watching this video in the future, this is videoed in 2021. So there are maybe from time to time prices may change, but 2021, this is the price. This is the
price. And you know what? This was also the price in 2009 when it was set up. So far it hasn't moved in that time. So, and I'm not saying it will, but, it's incredibly reasonable.
In which case then, the best time to have joined the personal development school was in 2009. And the next best time is now, because the price hasn't
Absolutely. Price hasn't changed. So yeah, it is. It's been really good, and that's what it costs, and it's been when I looked at what the value is for what you get, it is exceptional. You get your certificates designed, you get the International Kinesiology certificates with your own personal logo on them, so that they're individually designed for every author, which is really nice. And it's an acknowledgement. You get to use the Personal Development School logo on all your advertising materials. You'll be given the logo. The database, the website, you know, advertising. We've now got a newsletter to do that. So it's really, it's a super deal. And plus, you're in with all other authors and like-minded people. You know, and you know your work is protected. I mean, that's invaluable in itself.
Yeah. I look forward to sometime in the future interviewing you again to learn more of what does the IKC do, why was it set up, and how does it support kinesiologists around the world. And I'd like to do that in the future.
That'd be wonderful.
Beautiful. Jed, thank you so much for being with us today, ladies and gentlemen, and all of those watching this video. I'm Sylvia Marina, Lady Dean of the International Kinesiology College Personal Development School. Thank you.